Hey everybody, welcome. What's on my mind? You know, these are things that are just on my mind. Hey, we're back here. What's on my mind? People who are in America right now need to take the steps to secure our rights for all future generations going forward. They're in danger of getting way too many elk on the landscape and justify bringing wolves back onto that landscape. Anyway, I'd love to have everybody's thoughts on that. Some of our happiest elk hunters are the guys who are coming out of Western Wyoming, backcountry, horseback elk hunts, killing lots of bulls. That's why I like to hunt with a 300 Winchester Magnum. Allow American hunters to import trophies that are legally killed in other countries? Those are the questions to be asked, but I do want to know what you think about this. Goblet here. I'm anticipating a Sweet 16 victory. Arizona Blue Devils, or Arizona versus the Duke Blue Devils, is going to go bad for Arizona. Love the NCAA tournament. Love the March Madness. You know, I think it goes hand in hand with hunting season because right now, unless you live in the South or someplace back east that's got a turkey season that's open, you really don't have a lot to do in March, right? So, yeah, we've been down here in Texas. We've been doing some outad sheep hunting and stuff that occupies our time, but really spring bear hunting doesn't start till April, May, into early June. So March Madness is great for me. It helps me occupy my time when I don't have mountains of office work to get done. It's just crazy times for that. All the license applications are due, and we've got clients calling our office constantly, and we're getting guys' schedules scored away for this fall. It's crazy times, but yeah, March Madness. I love it. Go Duke Blue Devils. No more needs to be said. Although, if you have a favorite team in the tournament this year, who'd you pick in your bracket? Throw it in the comments below. I want to know who you're rooting for or who you think is going to win it all. Like I said, I love Duke, but I respect everyone's decisions. So, anyway, this week, I wanted to cover quite a few different topics. Obviously, for the last few days, I've been talking about shooting at the range, making sure we're competent hunters and shooters and whatnot. But as I mentioned, turkey season's either upon us in the south and east, or it's coming very quickly. And you know, something I wanted to talk about tonight was TSS, tungsten super shot. Uh, for all of you guys that are out there still shooting lead, like lead fours, fives, and sixes, um, if you can afford it, shoot tungsten. TSS is game changer. Tungsten is changing the playing field with turkeys. If a turkey hangs up at 50 yards, shoot him in the face. I mean, I guess 50 is the new 20. I mean, we're killing turkeys at 50 and 60 yards with 410 number 9 TSS. I mean, we own Pendleton Ammunition. We've got a 1 ounce and 7/8 ounce jet fuel load in number 9 TSS that is, I mean, we don't call it jet fuel because it sucks. Okay. It's not a sissy load. The jet fuel load is badass. It's probably the strongest, most high performance load. It's not meant to be shot in every single gun out there. Some of the folks in some of the budget guns like Rossi maybe experience a little bit of pressure, have trouble getting them to eject. Um, but that's just simply because it's a big badass hot 410 load, and it's designed to be shot in, like, especially the 1 ounce loads now are meant to be shot only in single shot guns. And really they're basically like the CVA Scout, or now the Spur. By the way, we field tested the Spur today. The CVA Spur 410 is awesome. Short, it's stubby, it is badass. New favorite toy, no doubt about it. I can hardly wait to smash some beaks with it this year. Um, you know, that 410 load and 7/8 ounce or 1 ounce jet fuel. I mean, bar none, the best 410 shells on the market. If they shoot well in your gun, I recommend them. But tungsten's changing the playing field. We got guys killing turkeys at 80 yards with 20 gauges. Okay, number 9s, ounce and 5/8, 1,400 plus feet per second. The Magnum loads are smoking. And, you know, and I field tested some of the other stuff, and everybody's TSS is pretty good. I mean, we designed our Pendleton ammo to be more of the Magnum high performance. That's why we call it jet fuel, or the Ferrari loads. You know, they're the, you know, some of the other companies like Apex make a great F-150 load. Reliable, going to start, always going to go bang, always going to pattern pretty good. Ours is like a Ford F-150 with a Ferrari motor in it. It's going to smash, and we feel pretty proud of it. But for all these guys out there that are calling us saying, "Oh, the TSS isn't fair for the turkeys," We still get it done with lead, copper plated fives. Good. I'm glad you embraced the challenge. Just remember, most of you guys are sending me those emails are shooting 12 gauges. We're shooting the turkeys with 410s and TSS. There's a big difference. If a 410 can replace a 12 gauge with a fraction of the recoil and fraction of the boom and still kill turkeys at the same maximum distance or further, that tells you the difference between TSS and lead. So just throwing that out there. How many of you guys are turkey hunting? I'd love to know. Like I said, turkey season's upon us. It's either here or it's getting ready to start. Ours starts here in Oregon, April 15th, unless you're on the youth season, which is a few days before that. Like I said, we are absolutely inundated with turkey hunting requests right now, and turkey hunters buying the shell. So I know that season's upon us. So, like I said, I'd love to know your feedback. Love to know some stuff that you guys want to talk about when it comes to those. And by the way, if you're shooting a 12 gauge, 3.5 inch Magnum with 2.5 ounces of number 9 TSS, that's 880 BBs. Same number of BBs in the 10 gauge 2.5 ounce load. Those will blow a hole this big through a board at 40 yards. They're that potent. You have to shoot them with a red dot sight. Like we use the Burris fast fire sights. If you don't have a fast fire sight to be dead on at 30 yards, you can blow right past a turkey's head and never touch him because the pattern's so tight. It's amazing. Extended range, 70, 80, 90 yards with the 12 gauge 3.5 inch mag. So, I'm like I said, really big on this TSS. And like, I want to know what everybody else is hunting with and using out there. I want to know if you guys have any questions about tungsten, drop them in the comments below or send us a PM. I'll get with you directly. So, and I also mentioned that here come mid-April through the month of May and into early June, that's bear season, whether it's grizzly bear season on the mountains in the interior, on the snow of Alaska, coastal brown bear season, like the ABC Islands, the peninsula, Fognak and Kodiak Islands. There's a lot of grizzly brown bear hunting to be had, but then the black bear start popping out, especially once you get into May. We're deep into bear season, Saskatchewan, Alberta, British Columbia, Alaska, Idaho, you name it, man. We are deep into the bear hunting. We have hundreds of bear hunting clients every single year. So we came out with the Pendleton Ammunition bear hammer loads. Why do we do that? Well, because I was trying to get people to stop shooting like frangible bullets and poorly constructed bullets into bears, especially grizzlies and brown bears. So we developed Bear Hammer, which is Swift A-frames, nozzler partitions, Barnes TSX and TTSX bullets, North Fork semi-spitzers. The big badass heavy hitter. Swift A-frames, probably the most popular of all of them, but all of them are great hard-hitting controlled expansion bullets that will get the job done. And when you're shooting a bear, you're shooting an animal, whether it's a black bear, grizzly bear, or a brown bear, you're shooting an animal that has a tremendous bone and muscle structure, much, much denser and thicker and stronger than your white-tailed deer. You shouldn't shoot a black bear with your whitetail bullet. Okay. When you're hunting a whitetail, you want a rapid expansion, high shock bullet. When you're hunting a bear, you want a slower, more controlled expansion bullet. One that's going to stay together, get through that shoulder, break that shoulder, get into the vitals, blow bone chunks through the heart, the lungs, and the rest of the vital organs, and kill that animal, with internal damage. A light framed bullet like a ballistic tip or an SST is not a great black bear bullet, because if you hit it in the shoulder, it might come apart on the shoulder. You're not going to necessarily get all the way through that shoulder, especially on a bear. So you want to think about the bullets that you're using. That's why we came up with the Bear Hammer line of ammunition. And anybody that has a caliber that they want to hunt with that is not listed on our Bear Hammer page can call in and talk to myself or Nate and the guys, and we'll make sure that we advise you, like, hey, you have a 270, you're going to black bear hunting with it? No problem. Let's go to like 140 or 150 grain AccuBond or Barnes TSX or TTSX or something that will stay together and give you that controlled expansion. We'll ask you questions like, hey, are you black bear hunting over bait? Yes. Okay. So you need a short range 50 to 75 yard bullet that's going to hit at high impact and need to stay together. Or, oh no, you're going to go hunt spot and stalk on the mountainsides of like Idaho or Wyoming. Need a bullet that'll perform 200, 300, 400 yards downrange. Okay. That's a different bullet. We have to think today, because we have such a great selection of bullets, because we have this incredible selection of bullets today, and they all perform very differently from each other, that you have to think about which bullet are you selecting. It's not a matter of, well, I got a 270. I'm gonna go buy a box of 140s. Which 140? The frangibles, the controlled expansions, the rapid expansions, lead tips, polymer tips, long range, regular. I mean, there's a lot of different bullets out there and they all shoot very differently from each other and they all have different terminal performance. Some, like I said, some bullets stay together, some bullets blow apart, some bullets have partial, break off pedals that break off. You got to think about how those bullets were designed to perform upon impact and then add that to your, well, is this the way I want my bullet to perform based on where I like to shoot the animals? Do you like to shoot animals behind the shoulder? Like if you like to shoot bears behind the shoulder, well, then you might want to go with one of those high shock rapid expansion bullets. But if you like to shoot bears in the shoulder like I do, because I want my bear to break down on the spot. I want to see my bear die. I want to crush his shoulders. I want him to roll up, especially a grizzly or brown bear. That's where I want my Swift A-frame, my Barnes TTSX or TSX. I want one of those hard hitting badass bear bullets. So anyway, hey, we got a question in from Mike Steed. What bear hunts do you have planned for this season? Mike, I have a couple of pretty awesome hunts planned for myself. I'm going to go this fall. I'm going to hunt for a brown bear in Alaska on the salmon streams. I've got big plans there. It's a hunt that I've been wanting to do for a long time. And it's a place that we've had clients going for years and years. I mean, I've guided all over those parts of Alaska years ago, and I've been fortunate enough to hunt and travel all over. But this is a particular camp that I want to get into, and that's kind of a high bear density camp. I think we can, probably get in there and find a bear somewhere around that 8.5 to 9, maybe 9.5 foot squared, size. If the bear activity is good and there's lots of bears, I'll probably be pretty selective, hold out for something big. The next question, of course, I already feel it come is, what rifle are you going to take, right? And I can tell you right now, when I do that hunt, I'm going to take my Bergara custom gun. I've had it for a few years now, a while. I've shot another big brown bear with it on the peninsula. 338 Winchester Magnum. I'm going to shoot the 225 grain Barnes TTSX bullets. They go out the barrel, and it's a short barrel gun with a suppressor on it at about 2,650 feet per second, and they get down. And I know that I put the big bears down with it. So that's what I intend to use on that hunt, but that's the first bear hunt I'm going to do. Now, my second bear hunt is going to be a polar bear hunt. But when I do that hunt depends greatly on if I draw a South Dakota West River mule deer tag or not, because the hunts in Nunavut in the fall, I want to do them on the snow in November as the bears are gathering along the sea where the sea ice will form. I really want to do that hunt, but I can't commit to it until I find out if I'm going to be deer hunting a whole bunch in November. If I'm going to be deer hunting, my needs change a little bit. And that's one of the problems with being me, I guess, is that I've got to wait and see how some things play out. If I don't draw it, then my plan is to go polar bear hunting. If I do draw it, then I'm going to go deer hunting this fall. So like I said, those plans are up there a little bit. If I do draw West River Special this year, then next year I'll do the polar bear. And then this spring, I'm kind of sitting on the option. I've got an invite from one of our outfitters to go up and do a hunt in what's called Glacier Bay, Southeast Alaska. It's a boat-based hunt. It's really scenic, beautiful country. And we can go up there and you generally get some pretty good sized black bears on the beaches in the spring toward the end of May. So I'm really excited about, the potential of doing that hunt. We're working out some details on logistics on that and scheduling. Travis has a black bear hunt this year, a hosted week that he's doing in Alberta, in one of the most awesome black bear areas in the entire province. We're really excited about that. So that first week of June, he's got the camera crew up there with him. So if I do a black bear hunt, it's got to be before that, and that kind of that last week or so of May, leading up to that trip for him into Alberta. So yeah, potentially 3 bear hunts: a black bear hunt in Alaska, a brown bear hunt in Alaska, and then the polar bear hunt potentially in the Nunavut territory in November. Like I said, very exciting times. I'm excited about it, and looking forward very much so to the upcoming season. So, something that's definitely worth talking about is the polar bear thing. I know I touched on it a few episodes ago. If for anybody that goes up there, I found a life-size replica company. If you do a polar bear hunt, you can't bring your bear home. There's a company up there that will replicate your polar bear for you, and it looks geez, I looked at the replicas. I was like, oh my God, these look like real bears. These guys in Canada have figured it out. They do an incredible job. So if I am fortunate enough to get a polar bear, I plan on having them make one of those replicas for me for sure. Uh, because I mean, I want that memory in my office or trophy room or wherever to remember the experience. That's if people say, "Oh, you mount these animals just to show off." Yeah, not that many people see my trophies. I mount those animals so that I have the memory, so that when I walk into my office and I look around, I see the memories of all the trips and adventures that I've had over the years. And sometimes I realize my memory slips a little bit, but when I see that trophy, the memories come flooding back. And I try to mount those animals, that are special to me. And I think I've still got something like 120 something animals to get mounted. They're wet tanned and sitting in freezers everywhere. And someday I'll get them all done. But like I said, they're all just memories for me. Um, but once again, let's go back to guns and calibers. From a bear standpoint, if I go polar bear hunting, I'll probably use the same 338 Win Mag. Like I said, it's one of the first generation Bergara custom guns, and I had it cut down to an 18-inch barrel because I was running a 6.5-inch suppressor on it. It's just a badass combination for me. I absolutely love that gun. It smashes. I've killed a lot of animals with it, and I absolutely love hunting with it. So, um, another, I guess, call it spring hunt that a lot of people don't think about is New Zealand. Um, I'll tell you all something. I went to New Zealand last year. If you guys are looking for something to do in April, May, June, July, those 4 months, it doesn't matter when you go. April, May, June, July. If you're looking for something to do in the summer, June, July with your family, call us. I mean, go to New Zealand. The people are awesome. I mean, the Kiwis just open their arms and welcome you to their country. Yeah, you're a tourist, but they're genuinely good people. The hunting, phenomenal. Big estates with red deer on them. The mountains are full of chamois and tar. The fallow deer run in massive herds. I mean, just a wonderful experience. Incredible landscape. Yeah, it's a long flight. Whoop-de-doo. Get on the airplane, eat an Ambien, fall asleep, wake up, in Auckland, clear customs, jump on the next flight, get to Queenstown, get picked up, swing by a store, buy a suppressor, walk out the door with it to put on your gun. You don't need to do that. We have them down there for everybody. And just go have fun. I really can't recommend New Zealand highly enough. Incredible experience, incredible people, lots of fun. So that's just another summer, spring, type location that you can go to with your family. So, you know, I, I would love to, hear more from everybody with, I guess questions, topics for future episodes. There's only so many things we can talk about in hunting. One of the things I'm working on is I'm putting together like a spreadsheet with some information that I want to share with everybody. Now that we've got the technology and the crew to put some things up on the screen while I'm broadcasting live, I'm going to lay out some things like the differences between like a 6.5 Creedmoor, a 6.5 PRC, and like a 300 Win Mag in terms of like ballistics. You know, not just is it flat shooting, but how much energy does that bullet deliver downrange? What's the difference between a 6.5 Creedmoor and a 300 Winchester Magnum? I guess you guys will find out. I catch a lot of heat from the 6.5 guys because I don't want to say I hate on the 6.5 Creedmoor because I think the 6.5 Creedmoor is fine within its limitations. In fact, I think it's a damn fun caliber to shoot. I use it for a coyote gun. I think it's a great caliber for whitetail, mule deer, and antelope. I think that with proper shot placement and a good bullet, and when I say good bullet, I'm not talking about the Hornady 143 grain ELDX. That is a crappy bullet. I really don't like the way they perform when the bullet hits the meat. Well, you take the 130 grain Swift Scirocco, you take the 130 grain Sierra Tipped Game King, the 145 grain Sierra Tipped Game King, you take the 130, 140 grain Accubons, nice, well constructed bullets. You get a lot better performance out of that caliber. And once again, I feel like it's a fine deer sized or smaller game caliber, antelope, whitetail, mule deer. I shoot coyotes with mine. I have my thermal gun is a 6.5 Creedmoor that shoots it's a 16-inch barreled, special purpose Bergara with suppressor on it. Shoots 3,300 feet per second at the muzzle with a 100 grain Hornady ELD VT bullet, the varmint bullet. That is cracking a can, folks. I mean, I'm talking 0 drop out to like 200. I point blank to 300, 325 yards. Awesome, awesome caliber with the right bullet. I just don't like them for elk. I don't think the 6.5 Creedmoor and the 6.5 PRC are what I would consider A-grade elk calibers. They're fringe calibers. Yes, will they kill an elk? I'm tired of getting emails from guys. I killed an elk with my 6.5, whatever. Great. You have no margin for error. If that elk takes I mean, I had a guy the other day just email me. He said, I shot an elk at 700 and no, it's 800 and like 12 yards or something. He said, I dropped him in his tracks. I was shooting 147 grain ELDM, the match bullet out of a 6.5 Creedmoor. He said, I'm deadly accurate with it. I said, you dropped him in his tracks? His answer was yes. I hit him right in the neck. I promise you he wasn't holding on the neck at 800 yards. I mean, he got lucky and clicked it in the neck. If it had taken a step and he hit it in the guts, he never recovers that elk. There's no margin for error with the 6.5 calibers when it comes to elk hunting. Just none. It has the rhyme need more for a reason. With elk, you need more. We deserve, I should say the animals deserve our best. And our best is a bullet that will get more damage done once the bullet is not in the right place. You can't control. You can be a guy that shoots dimes. At 500 yards, if you pull the trigger on a 6.5 Creedmoor on an elk, your bullet's headed straight for that bull's heart, but he takes a step and you hit him that far behind the heart, the bullet isn't going to do enough damage to get him killed right there. That's a suffering bad program right there. You better hope you have time to hit him again and again and again. You hit him that far behind the heart with a 300 Win Mag, that wound channel is significantly bigger. There's a big difference between 0.264 and 0.308 and 140 grains and 180 grains or 200 grains. Big difference. More wound channel, more hydrostatic shock, more everything from the bigger caliber. And let me tell you something. When someone says, well, I can't handle the recoil of the Magnums, that's what muzzle brakes are for. And if not a muzzle brake, absolutely no one outside of the states where it's illegal to own one, everyone should have a suppressor these days. It takes 2 or 3 days to get one. The Form 4s are going through so fast that when we, like in Oregon here where we're at, you can go in and try and buy a gun. If you don't have a concealed weapons permit, you might wait a week for your background check to go through. It takes longer to buy your gun than it does to get the damn suppressor now. If you can get a suppressor in 2 or 3 days, get 60, 65% felt recoil reduction and knock down all the noise, no brainer. And if you can put a suppressor with 60% recoil reduction on a 300 Winchester Magnum and pull the trigger and you tell me it's still got too much recoil, look, Alice, you might want to cowboy up just a little bit. It ain't that bad. All right. Once again, the elk, the animals, they deserve us to hunt. They deserve our best. And our best is when you hit them with a 7 mag, a 300 Win Mag, a 300 PRC, elk size calibers. You know, I like the 270 as maybe like a minimum elk caliber now. You know, it's just, man, there's just a big difference. I absolutely, truly believe the 6.5s are a mid-range caliber. And yeah, they're fun to shoot. Awesome. No recoil. Cool. They're just a fringe elk caliber. And recoil is no longer, with today's suppressors and muzzle brakes, recoil is no longer a viable complaint or reason to elk hunt with these little calibers. It just isn't. I mean, I can point to a great example. A good friend, Emma. All right. She is a go-getter, 17 years old, young lady, wanted to borrow a better gun. She had a 308, but she wanted a little bit bigger gun for her elk hunt when she drew her trophy tag at age 17. And she used my 300 PRC, Bergara Highlander 300 PRC. You know, they have a suppressor. They put on the gun. We zeroed it up. That kid was smashing targets with that gun. All right. You know, a 17-year-old girl that maybe weighs 100 pounds soaking wet can tolerate the massive recoil of a 300 PRC. Most of you guys out there can too. All right. Like I said, 6.5s are fun to shoot. Great. Deer and antelope hunt with them. Coyote hunt with them. Maybe even shoot some plains game in Africa with them. Make sure you select the right bullet. But when you go elk hunting or bear hunting, let's gun up a little bit, boys. All right. Even the ladies, right? Let's gun up. Let's hit those animals with a big enough caliber to get the job done quickly and ethically and efficiently. Let's bring the terminal performance to the hunting camp this year. When it comes to elk and bear camp, let's leave the 6.5s at home and let's take the hammers to the woods. I know I might get some hate mail over this one. I don't care. I'm here to piss you off. I just don't give a shit. Anyway, that's about all I've got to ramble and rant about tonight because I had about a dozen people today send me emails about 6.5 this, 6.5 that. And I thought about making a little 6.5 picture with a little Superman cape on the back of it and sending it out to everybody. But I didn't. I digress. So I take it out on all of you that bothered to listen to me tonight. So I'll think of something else to ramble and rant about tomorrow night. I was actually thinking about doing something like maybe like a Saturday Night Live spoof, like the late eighth man with a bottle of Crevathier. I was like, I could be the 100th man with a bottle of Jack Daniels, maybe. I don't know. We'll have to see where we go with that. Until then, y'all have a wonderful night and go Duke. If you've liked listening to What's on My Mind, remember to give this video a like and either follow or subscribe to this page so that you never miss a single live episode when we stream them from right here in our studio. And don't forget to drop a comment below. I want to know what's on your mind.